Hi everyone. So I'm back with some revelation. um, oh my goodness. So I'm about to transition, and my glasses are so dirty. I need to buy those lens wipes, but short on cash, so gonna have to wait a little bit. Anyway, so as I was sitting here at the park, and I can say I'm at the park again. Um, God has been showing me because I've been moving here and there and to and fro, coming and going. Go one place, come back to the same place. Go to another place, come back to the same place. And as I was sitting here, since I got here, no, since I woke up this morning, God has been showing me full circle, full circle, full circle, full circle. I'm like, okay, yes, I know I'm going full circle, the reversal of the reversal, going forward. And and I don't mean to sound ironic. It's more like I'm just going through and recognizing, acknowledging that yes, this is the path that I'm on. And I'm seeing the path and I'm seeing the bigger path, the smaller path. I'm seeing the mission and the direction and I'm getting all that and I'm accepting, I'm recognizing and I'm moving through slowly. The first time I wanted to get to the end fast. Like I was driving fast. And I don't mean speeding. I mean, I was going through all of the things in a matter of God would give me a thought or give me a direction and I'd take it right then. I wouldn't wait. And now I'm patient. I'm waiting. I'm slow to act and quick to listen. So last night, it it it's it's been like a tidal wave. Okay, so if you've ever been to the ocean and you see the tidal waves, you see one. Some of them come in small, and then gradually they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, especially when it's high tide. When it's low tide, you don't get the same effect as when they have high tide. And so God sits me in places and then he brings thoughts and ideas and things that he has me working on, things he has me thinking about, things he has me working through in my heart, things that he has me letting go of. And I didn't understand it at first. I'm like, why are you bringing me here? Why are you? And he actually took me to the hometown where I lived when I was in grade school and high and junior high school. And I ended up going 1 year of high school. It was my favorite place because this is where things really changed for me emotionally. Um, so I no longer was under just the woman who raised me's hands. Now God had teachers and neighbors and friends and but the adults who were pouring into me and they were helping ensure that my heart didn't harden. Because had this only been the woman, had the woman been the only contact I had during the formidable years of my youth, I would have hardened my heart. I would have changed because I was starting to. I was starting to get bitter. I was starting to get angry. So God brought all these people to ensure that my heart stayed pure, that I didn't go down the path of hatred and anger and sinning in a way that he couldn't save me. So he, you guys have seen the videos where I was in that motel and I moved into that motel in November of 2023. I moved out of that motel in May of 2025. Just before, actually, no, I moved out June 5th. I moved out the same day I got my car. And that day is always going to be in my memory for the rest of my life. Because the way that it was funny, because I had already started to assimilate, okay, if I get to the motel at midnight and, I can go somewhere and sleep, and I can go up to the motel at midnight, get up at 4 in the morning, go to work, and I can stay at the motel for a few more weeks and save up some money. And God had said, no, this is not where I want you. I cannot bless you where I am about to drop judgment. And so he allowed a situation to occur that forced me to leave in that moment. Now, I know a lot of you are going to look at this through your physical eyes, through your natural eyes, but you have to look at it spiritually. Okay? The world says you have to pay for room and board. You have to pay to eat. You have to pay to survive. Okay? With God, you don't pay. With God, you don't have to survive. He provides abundantly so that you will have what you need when you need it. So this man has been given the opportunity to provide sanctuary for God's children. But this man became greedy. And he says, no, everyone must pay. I don't care if they're here by God's word. I'm a child of God too. And I've got needs. And I've got things that I need to provide for. I've got family. So he took the liberty. We all have free will. Okay. God will bless us. Okay. He will bless even the people that are sinning. Because God is a good God, and he knows that if he gives you enough time, eventually you come back. But there are those individuals that harden their hearts like Pharaoh did. And because they harden their hearts on their own, and they will not allow God to chastise them or correct them or provide them with revelation or guidance into the right behaviors or the right attitude to have, when the opportunity presents itself for them to be vindicated by doing the right thing, God doesn't allow them to. Because God says, you had all of these opportunities to soften your heart, to listen to my call, to do my bidding, and yet you harden your heart against me. So now I will harden your heart as you chose it to be. You show God the kind of heart posture you want to have. If you don't want to help others, if you are selfish and you want to protect yourself, or you're living in fear, and out of that fear you do something against God's will, then he will repay in kind. That's in Scripture. So today, or last night, God had me send a couple texts to a friend of mine, a new coworker. We became really fast friends. I mean, this woman feels like a sister. She feels like someone that I have known my entire life. She's going through a situation. Her daughter is battling cancer for the second time. And she's having to go back to Oklahoma to be with her daughter, to support her, to protect her, to cover her in prayer. I have prayed and I have prayed, and I have been talking to her, and I've been telling her that if God is sending her back, it's for a reason. Because either her daughter is giving up the fight because people are telling her it's too hard. This time it's not going to be like last time. This time, doctors are telling her it's over. Doctors are, people in her life are telling her to start making arrangements because she's not going to survive. When you start to kill yourself because the words and the thoughts you are having, God will send you a lifeline. God will send you people to help take you out of the abyss because it's not time yet. And that is what my friend is getting ready to do. She's getting ready to go back and fight the fight for her daughter, for her soul, for her life, and to bring her back. And I told her that. I said, the reason you're going back is because you need to fight for her. Mama Bear needs to fight for her because she's not able to fight for herself. She's overwhelmed just fighting day to day to stay out of the coffin. And her willpower is diminishing every day. So we were talking yesterday, and she made comments to me about being a blessing to her and being an answered prayer. And I started thinking about my husband and how things happened for him and how he allowed people that he knew, that he trusted, that he had faith in, to talk him out of what he knew for a fact was for him. They caused him to have... Oh, that's cool. Sorry, there's a gentleman who's in a wheelchair and he has a contraption on top of his roof that he hits a button, it opens up and a wheelchair comes out and it's motorized. The contraption is motorized. I've never seen one of those. It looks like from the 1970s. It's very interesting. Anyway, so yesterday I had a coming to Jesus moment because being in a car, sleeping day to day, running on fumes for money, for food, for me, I'm okay. Having little doesn't bother me. I'm used to it. I've been living with little for a very, very long time, since I was a child. But yesterday, I had a coming to Jesus moment because I finally broke down. And I asked God, you told me to follow you. You've set the steps in front of me. You've promised me this. You've promised me that. You've told me you're going to give me this. You told me you're going to give me that. I said, and I'm still here. I'm still struggling. But I'm still following you. I said, you say that for those of you, for those of the people that are sinners and do not come back to you, that it will have been more pleasant in Sodom and Gomorrah than it is going to be for them now. And I said, but I feel like I'm living in Sodom and Gomorrah, like I've never left. And I've run, and I've never looked back. That's why I'm not a pillar of salt. I am the salt, but I didn't become a pillar. And you're telling me that the bounty of the kingdom is mine. And I said, Father, I would have followed you even without the promises. I know you're not like man that you should lie. And I know that what you say is your bond. But with what I see right now, with what I am going through right now, it would have been better if you had not promised me anything. If you had not shown me glimpses of happiness. because I would have still followed you, regardless. But my hope would have never been raised. My wants, my desires would have never changed. Because not having the things that you promised me, not having the life that you showed me, hurts. It hurts. It makes me feel like you're dangling the carrot, and I don't need you to dangle the carrot. Just tell me which way to go, and I will go. And I wrestled with him all night. And I said, I'm not letting you go. I need you to understand. You didn't have to do it like this. You didn't have to act like I needed something, a promise or something to help me go in the direction that you wanted me to go. I said, I didn't need any of that. I follow you freely. I said, I was willing to go out into the desert and live like John the Baptist. I was willing to live on the streets with nothing to my name. And yet, you keep promising me that things are going to get better, things are going to change. But it hurts too much to keep holding on. To keep holding on. And so, suddenly I felt a release. And I was like, what? And God said, drive to the Circle K at this street, at this intersection. Like, okay. I didn't question it. I just got in my car, turned on the car, and drove away. Got to the Circle K, got out, went to the bathroom, got a soda, came back to my car. Now, I parked my car at work underneath a tree. Because I park underneath a tree, the birds poop on my car, and there was poop on the windshield. And God had already told me to clean it. And I said, okay, when I get to the Circle K, I'll pull into one of the stalls and for the gas, and I'll clean the window. And as I came back out and I put my drink in the cup, I was about to drive over to the stall. And he said, no, just go ahead and go. I'm like, okay, where do you want me to go? And he said, drive that way. I'm like, okay. So I get in my car. I pull out to the driveway to turn right to go down the street. And as I'm sitting there, I turn to the left to look for cars for oncoming cars. I turn to my left, and there's a red Tesla, which happens to be the same color of the Tesla that my husband drives. So I look over, and I see the red Tesla. And so I did a double take, and then I focused on the driver. And I'm like, wait, that's my husband. And the face he had, he was so serious. And I recognized that face. It's a face of anger. I've seen that face before. Not at me. I've seen that face when the boss man, that's what I call the old boss, the boss man. When the boss man would say or do something that went against his position. Meaning, the boss man would come up to him and be like, hey, you've got this many runs or this many deliveries, and this is how you're going to do it. And he's looking at him like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, if I do it that way, it's going to take me longer. And he goes, you're going to do it this way because this is the fastest route. And he's like, Let me show you. And he takes him to the computer and he shows him on the screen. And he's like, look, if I go this way, this way, this way, this way, this way, like you're telling me, it's going to make me 20 to 30 minutes longer than if I went this way, this way, this way, this way, then this way, because it's more efficient, because I know the back roads. And the boss man was like, no, you're going to do it my way. And you're going to do it in the time that I'm telling you you're going to do it. He's like, I'm telling you, it's going to be 20 to 30 minutes longer because I'm going to hit traffic. I'm going to hit lights. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to make it back in the time you're saying. And he said, fine, you're the boss. I'll do what you tell me to do. And he grabbed the orders, put them in his car, and he drove off. And sure enough, 25 minutes later, he was walking in the door. 25 minutes after the boss man said he should have been back, he walks in the door. And the boss is mad. He's like, what took you so long? And he goes, I told you. The way you sent me, I hit traffic. The way you sent me, I hit lights. I ended up the opposite direction of every single place that I was going to. And I was not going in on the right side. I had to wait for the light. I had to wait, I'm not going to run a red light because you want me here at a certain time. It's not going to happen. I've been doing this way too long. But if you want me to do it the way you want me to do it, so be it. I'm not the boss. You're the boss. But don't tell me how to do my job because I know how to do my job. That has been an argument since before I started. And yesterday, the look I saw on him was the same look. But this time, God enlightened me to say it's not because of the deliveries that he's upset. I'm like, then why? And he said, think about, so Lucifer will try to get you to not think about things from the past because he'll bring people to your mind saying, by thinking about the past, you're not letting go of the past. You're still holding on. You're still holding on to my old mindsets. That's not true. Okay. God uses the past to teach us. God uses the past to enlighten us, to help us see clarity. You hear the words, hindsight 2020. Well, that's true. When you look back over a situation, you learn things that you didn't learn before. You understand things you didn't understand before. If you look at the Bible, we're looking at the Bible that was written hundreds of thousands of years ago. Okay? And here we are understanding, and I say hundreds and thousands of years ago, because God had this book written before creation even began. Before anything had been done. Before anyone had been created or existed. Before the earth had a form, before there was light, before there was darkness, before there was anything. In the void, he had already created this book. And if you don't believe it, I can't help you with that. You're going to have to talk to God. Anyway, so God brought me back to what happened with us and how, and the way that this all came about is last night as was it last night or this morning? I think it was last night as I was getting ready for bed, getting ready to sleep in my car. I was reaching out to him and talking to him about so first off, God immediately had me tell him that I saw him. I said, you just passed me. And then God had me go, and I'm like, Father, if you don't stop him, I'm not gonna keep up because he drives really fast. Not really. He doesn't speed over like more than 5 over the speed limit, but he has an electric car, so the car can run a little faster than my gas car, my little jalopy. That's what God calls it. He goes, this is a jalopy. I'm like, why? Because it's not the car I have for you. It's your temporary car. It's your transitionary car. I'm like, okay. Anyway, but I was happy to get it because this is a vehicle. It's cold air. It's got all the things that I really, really enjoy about having a car. Anyway, so I sent him a text. I'm like, hey, you just passed me. I said, and then you passed me again on Camelback, and then I caught up to you again on McDonald. And so these are the streets that, God wanted me to share with him. But had I not been obedient and left in that moment, had I not had that breakdown and been like, you didn't have to promise me anything. You didn't have to, all you had to do was tell me to go and I would have gone. And that's exactly what he did. He told me go. And I said, okay. So I went. So the last 24 hours have been revelation. Okay. So last night I'm telling him, that I was talking to him about all the things that I've gone through in the last few days. And then this morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, God had me drive away and from where I was sleeping in the Walmart parking lot and go to the park, let my dog out, pick up his stuff and go and drive to another park where God has me stay. And I slept from 9 o'clock at night until 6 o'clock in the morning. I haven't slept that much in a very long time. But I should have known that I was going to till 5 o'clock because my dog woke me up. And he woke me up because he was scratching. And I was like, of course you would wake me up right when I'm having a dream. And there's certain parts of the dream that God will wake you up at. And I kind of remember the dream. I know my ex-husband was in the dream. And my ex-husband was trying to derail me. He was trying to get me to agree with him in getting back together, or not getting back together, in agreement in some type of work or some type of connection or some type of being together, something. And I was like, no, there's already someone else. Sorry, can't help you. And then my husband showed up and I was like, hey, how's it going? And we started talking and everything. And then things changed. Anyway, so then I woke up. And then, so I took the dog to the bathroom and then I drove off. And then I was driving by the place where I was going to get ice for my dog. Because in Arizona, being so hot, I don't buy water anymore. The water gets almost boiling, and you can't be safe on hot water. So God had me the first time around, when I was living in my truck at that time. He showed me about the ice, and so this time around I went straight for the ice, and I've been buying ice ever since. So I put a bunch of ice in the bowl, and then as warms up, as the bowl warms up, it melts the ice, and now it's cold water. So the water never gets warm because it's ice. So it's all, it gets to room temperature, but then I put more ice in there, and then he's able to continue drinking cool water. And so I get to the second park, and on the way, God was like, buy a Starbucks coffee. I said, Father, I do love Starbucks. I said, it is good coffee, but I love gas station coffee more. And he's like, I know. And I said, can I go into the Circle K and I'll go to the bathroom and then I'll buy a coffee? He's like, sure. Okay. So he was reminding me that yesterday he had me go to QT and he had me buy a couple things. A soda, a water, and a Starbucks coffee in the cups, in the bottles. And it was like $5 and some change. I took the last $2 that I had in my account, in my bank account, and I used $3.44 from my dollars. Now, in my dollars, I only had a $10 bill and a $20 bill. That was going to be my gas money. And I was like, okay, I'll use my $10 bill. I gave the clerk the $10 bill. and he gave me back $16 and some change. And God said, don't say a word. Get in the car and go. I was like, okay. So then he's highlighting 16. He goes, I've been showing you 16. What does 16 mean? But he hadn't had me look it up until now. So I put it in my phone real quick so I don't forget. Or I go to Strong's Concordance so I know to get there when I get to the park. And I get to the park and God has me look in YouTube for a little bit. Then finally he reminds me, don't forget to look up the number 16. And the number 16 means, Father, what did it mean? It was something about abundance and blessings. And I was floored because he showed me that this morning. Now, mind you, yesterday I had been wrestling with him. And the day before that, or was it the day before or was it on Sunday? No, on Monday, which today is Tuesday, so it was yesterday. No, it was on Sunday. On Sunday or Saturday, because was it my day off? It was on Saturday. I came across this person that I'm subscribed to. He's a different kind of prophet. Remember, God puts us in the places where his children are, the ones that are still in the world, the ones that need to come home, because we need to be able to speak in a language that they understand. That's why God tells us, don't speak against someone. Don't judge. It's not your job, because you don't know how I'm leading that person. And when you judge, you're going to get judged with that same lens. What did I just say about before? You know, when I first started this video, and judgment, you know, and that man, the owner of that property, he chose to judge me based on what he saw. He chose to go against God's wishes, because God was telling him, don't charge her. She needs the money. So God would then make him forget that I hadn't paid rent in 2-3 weeks. The longest consecutive amount of time that I went without paying rent was 2 months. 2 months and a week. And on Thursday, God got me out, June 5th. And all of that was confirmation for him that judgment was coming. Now,